Always enjoy chopping it up with Emory Hunt from Football Game Plan. Emory, great to be with you back at the Combine again. A year ago when we talked about a guy who's now a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders, and you were a big proponent of his, your top quarterback last year. What did you see in that limited sample size, which had a lot of really good, some not so good, from Shedeur Sanders in his first year with the Browns?
I saw him figure it out. And I think that's an encouraging sign for 2026 because you saw what you liked about him on film at Jackson State and also at Colorado, the it factor, him being able to play above the X's and O's, him being able to create the splash play, and him being able to find the accuracy and placement on a lot of throws at the intermediate level and deeper levels down the field. Now, what he has to work on, and as I was thinking of this as I'm going back of what I was talking about Shedeur, because I've been asked a lot about Shedeur.
Yeah.
It was the footwork coming from under center. I felt like sometimes when they run plays, it was a little clunky coming out of center.
And it
throws the timing off. And as a former back, when you don't have the timing thrown, you're already thinking in terms of where you're going to go. And if you see the quarterback stumble, you're like, all right, do I have to alter? And everything is thrown off.
Yep.
So I would like to see his footwork from under center get better. And I would also like to see him just get rid of the football in terms of knowing when to let dead plays die and get to the check down faster. Because sometimes, especially with the backs they have, with Judkins and Sampson, it might be your best bet to get them the football right out of the gate before even scanning the rest of the options and let those guys get out and go.
When you think about kind of the evolution of the game and from a schematic standpoint on offense, and now it will be tough for him, right, because now Todd Monken's going to come in. It will be different. So he's going to have to kind of learn probably some new terminology, learn a new scheme. But I thought last year he made some great plays out of structure, but when there were a few times where he got in a good rhythm in structure. He would hit kind of that deep dig. He would hit those balls kind of in tight windows. You're like, that's it. From the pocket, clean, get rid of it. What's kind of the next evolution for him in that standpoint in terms of being, to your point, getting out quicker where the diagnosis is quick, you know where to go with the football, and boom, you just rip it?
I think having just a time on task from start to finish, because one thing that no one discussed a lot of during his time coming into the draft process was how many different offense coordinators he worked with from Jackson State to Colorado and how many different play callers he worked with. So he constantly had to adjust and learn new things. So it's not like he can't, right?
For sure.
And so therefore, I expect him to do that with Todd Monken. Now, in this offseason, he's going to have the time and the runway to learn at the same pace as everybody else, and they're going through the same thing. So that repetition that you need to have success is going to be where it needs to be, and therefore everything will start to look like the first drive against Buffalo or the first drive against San Francisco. You're like, man, they're moving the ball down. This looks easy.
This looks good.
Right. They don't look like the Barcelona Dragons. It looks easy, right?
Yeah.
And so I like the fact that everybody gets to start from a clean slate, an honest slate, and I think we'll see Shedeur look like he looked in college.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Open competition, obviously. Todd Monken said that, and I like what he always says. I don't determine who plays. The players determine.
I like
and
that.
You've got, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and then, of course, returning Deshaun Watson. And we'll see if he can get back to that form that he had. He was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league
Right.
a while ago, but has shown it at this level. So that's going to be very interesting. For the Browns in this draft, though, I think their early assets, 3 picks in the top 39, 624, 39, they're going to be to help a quarterback, whether that be a weapon for the quarterback at the wide receiver position, whether that be some pieces on the offensive line, maybe 2 tackles, maybe a tackle and a guard. We'll see how that ultimately shakes out. Let's talk about the receivers because I'm a weapons. I just think you need to score to win in the NFL.
Same guy.
Who do you like in this receiver class? And for me, I'm thinking if there's a guy that's a real one and we can get him at 6, let's do it. Is there anybody that fits that bill for you?
There's a bunch. And like I break it down from 4 different spots. Your X receiver, your Z receiver, your slot, your big inside receiver, or big slot, or kind of tight X as we kind of call it. Denzel Boston is the tight X big slot guy. Slot guy is Mekhi Lemon. The Z is your Cornell Tate, and you also look at Jordan Tyson as your X. All 4 guys are great. Even outside of that number, you have Ted Hurst of Georgia State, who I like a lot. He plays a lot like George Pickens. Okay. And I'm glad he's here at the Combine because we're going to see him go out there and get after and get work done. Casey Concepcion, I was a big fan of him when he was at NC State. I'm glad he transferred to Texas A&M because they utilize him more as a receiver and not just a gadget guy, end-around guy, put him in the backfield.
He can run.
He can run, and he could also do those things. He's
got to catch the ball.
If you can score at the rate he can, I may be okay with a couple of drops, right?
Yes, right,
but no, you're right. You got to catch the football because that's the job requirement number 1 for wide receiver, right? It's no different than having the Jadarian Price explosive running back that fumbles. So, Got to clean it up, bro. I love the big play, but you got to clean it up. And I also like the fact that somebody deeper down that we're not talking enough about, Bryce Lance out of North Dakota State, 6'3", 205, and he could play above the rim as you would expect a bigger receiver to play, but he can win short and quick, and you get the ball in his hands, he has the ability to weave his way in and out of traffic like a New York cab and get to the end zone. Those guys you kind of want. It's a
Absolutely.
catch-and-run league. Can you score? Can you take the ball away? And those guys that I just mentioned all can score the ball.
If you're at 6 and you're looking at a team right now that's got, Jerry Jeudy, who 2 years ago Pro Bowler, best season in the league. Last year not as good, but obviously, all the different quarterbacks, there was a lot going on there. And then the kid I like Isaiah Bond. I think Isaiah Bond can run, and when you watch the tape from last year when you're watching Shador, he's behind the defense at least once a game, every single game. I think that he's somebody who really could kind of blow up for. So if you're looking at that framework where you're going, let's talk 11 personnel, you got Jeudy, you got Bond, Cedric Tillman as well would be in the mix, Fannin, and then Judkins or Sampson in the backfield. Who would you want to add to that group? Who gives you, at 6? Is it Carnell Tate that fits that bill for you? Who would you want to add?
That's a great way to frame it because it's like, okay, how do you piece together this offense? What don't you have that you want to add in terms of body type, skill type, and all of those things? Jeudy, to me, is more of a classic Z, a guy that you could put on in motion and let him just go use that speed. Bond is another Z, so you kind of need that bona fide X. So if you're looking at 6, I feel like Cornell Tate, even though I grade him as a Z, can be an X because he reminds me a lot of Devonta Smith, a quiet number 1.
Everybody keeps saying that.
Because
that's like third person said that.
Everybody, because get it from me. Everybody is peerless, right? Because he played alongside a loud number 1 in Jeremiah Smith. Just like Devonta Smith plays alongside a loud number 1 in A.J. Brown. And I say loud in terms of the game and the presence and the physicality. But Tate is always open. And Tate runs great routes. He tracks the ball rather well.
He catches it.
He catches the ball rather well. Denzel Boston, too, will be another one because he's a big physical guy, but also can win short and also does great after the catch. So if you're looking at receivers, I think those two, if Jordan Tyson is there obviously as well, that can fit the mold of what you want to fit because now you can push everybody down to one more natural slot position, and therefore you have 3 different types of receivers that can all win deep, short, and intermediate.
And I kind of like the idea. Let's say it's Carnell Tate, 6'3", gives you a different body type out there. And you see him outside one side, you put Bond outside on the other side, and now Jeudy can be kind of your slot, get a lot of free releases, and use his route running. I like the way, and Fannin's kind of a big slot, even though he's your tight end. I kind of like the way that would look.
Football is as you know, is a matchup game, and it's become more like basketball in the sense that how can we create individual one-on-ones? And when you have those guys that are, I love to call them Senior Bowl routes, so they could just win with multiple routes but get open. You have a problem defensively because it's hard to, can we bracket this guy? But, geez, I don't want to leave this other guy one-on-one because they all run 4-3. And it's funny you talk about Bond because I felt like that Bears game, just keep throwing it deep Bond. Like, obviously he's getting behind the defense somehow.
Oh, man. Yeah, you go back even watch the Pittsburgh game. Dylan was quarterback at that time, obviously, but there were 2 where he's just, if you get him the ball, we're talking 80-yard touchdowns. Now, Shador, he had a couple of big ones, and maybe – the Raiders one, if it was just a hair in front, that's an incredible throw that he made right there. That's a touchdown.
I need Bond to score on that.
Yeah, I would we all want Bond to score. Believe me, he wanted to score as well. But, yeah, all of a sudden, you single up Bond on the – he's going to run. He just did it all year. And that's – we kind of got him, because of his story, get him undrafted. That could really help. But I think that big guy, especially when you get down the red zone, you got the tighter windows, all of that. You need that big body, good, strong hands guy. You can play above the rim or you can make those contested catches.
It's interesting because – I wouldn't even be upset if they doubled down on a position or double down on linemen. It makes sense because if you're trying to increase the talent around a quarterback, whoever the quarterback may be, it's about stacking talent. It's about quarterback proofing your roster.
100%.
I think that's where people can have the mindset, hey, man, what if they double down? That's why I will always give – maybe I'm the only one that give Matt Millen credit. He had the right idea. When you draft a quarterback, give him weapons. And those 3 receivers he drafted were the top receivers coming out of that respective class. So I get it. It just didn't work out. But the process was smart. And so I like the fact that they can add someone like a Tate or a Boston or a Tyson that can really get vertical, go and play above the rim. Or if you have to wait and if you want to attack 2 linemen in the first, your Ted Hurst, your Bryce Lance are also big guys that can win up top as well.
What do you think about Malachi Fields?
Love Malachi Fields, and we saw the Senior Bowl clip from Taylor Green throwing a deep ball and Fields tracking the ball and going up. One of my scout notes I have, angry hands
Mm-hmm.
and arrogant hands. So it's like the ball is in the air. He may not get the best separation. That's fine. I just need you to catch the football and take it out of the air. And I love that he's not just going up and trying to fight with the ball. He's attacking out. So if he's trying to run an in-breaking route, he's reaching out to get the football.
Yep.
He's posting you up.
Like Larry Fitzgerald.
Bingo. You can't get to the ball through me. And I like that about him. And I like the fact that he doesn't mind. He's content with the catch, whether it's a 18-yard gain. It's I want the 30-yard gain. Well, 18 times 2 is 36, right? So it works out. So as long as you're making the catch, I'm good with it. And I like the fact that he gives you such a wide radius, and it fits in what you're looking for of what you don't have in that position right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk with Emory Hunt from Football Game Plan. Let's talk about the offensive line. Are there guys that you love in this class? It's been a problem for the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, we've put some pretty good resources into that position that have not necessarily panned out the way that we certainly would want, and that's why we kind of find ourselves back here. But how do you see this tackle class? And for you, if you're sitting in Andrew Berry's chair, are you more inclined to say, let's get that receiver at 6 and then we'll fill in the tackles, or is there somebody at tackle you'd say, we got to get that tackle?
I am speaking for Quinshawn Judkins and also Dylan Sampson and Rocket Sanders as an offensive line expert. Like let's look at the offensive line, right? I'm a big fan of Monroe Freeling.
Mm-hmm.
That's my number 1 tackle in the class. I feel like 6'7", not supposed to have been like that. It reminds me a lot of Ozzie Trapillo, who I had a high grade on last year in the draft class with the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
So
started and played well for them.
Played well for them, right? And so I think he could be a good tackle. Now, 6, who knows? But if you want to double down, I'm a big fan of Francis Marinoa because at the end of the day, he can play tackle and or guard. So now you have some flexibility. I think those two paired together could be a 6 and 24 type situation that now you've kind of gotten a lot of your offensive line issues out the way. But also when you look at Jalen Farmer, I feel like Jalen Farmer is the best guard in the draft.
Would he be somebody? Could he be that? Where would he be? Could he be there at 39?
He could be there at 39. And now
I like a receiver tackle. Give me
exactly.
that guard. Let's go.
And I could see that part because when you think about, okay, which receiver do you want first? Do you think you get that receiver at 24? If not, then take him at 6. And if you're going to take the tackle, make sure you get him. Or if you want to have to move up a little bit to get the guy, if you see the run start, because there's always a positional run on in the first round, go and get the guy you really want. But yeah, Farmer's because if you're not playing guard center guard, that's where offensive line play wins. I know big tackle propaganda has told everybody you left tackle. You need
tackle propaganda.
you need guard center guard to have successful offense, and I think Farmer would be there at 39.
So when we were at our best, you had Joel Bitonio, Posick, who played very well for us, and Wyatt Teller, and that was the anchor of the line. You go back to the year that we went with Joe Flacco. Our guards at the end of the year were James Hudson and Jaron Christian, but you had Bitonio, Posick, Teller, and we were pretty darn productive offense.
Because if people think in terms of the tackle, right, in terms of the blind side, but really a quarterback worth his salt can step up in the pocket and get the rid of the football.
Yep.
If you can't do that,
you need to be sound.
Bingo.
Yep.
So that's why guard center guard is important.
Emory, this has been great. Always appreciate the time when we get to talk to you at the Combine, and it's going to be fun to see. We'll talk to you again, I'm sure, after free agency when we get a different look at the landscape here and see where the Browns are going to go. But thank you so much for being with us.
Appreciate you, man.